Hey, what's up? This is Liam from Cancer Bats, and this is my Hit the Floor Firsts. My first ever girlfriend, I think it was when I was in grade 7. It was a girl named Rebecca, and we were in The Wizard of Oz together. And I was the mayor of Munchkinland, obviously, and I'm pretty sure I asked her to date me like afterwards, after the play was done, and I think we dated for like a month. I'm pretty sure that was my first girlfriend. I feel like it's probably like Darth Vader, you know, like when you're a kid and you're watching Star Wars for the first time and you're like, man, that Darth Vader's a bad dude. I feel like he was probably like my first like real hated character. Who could hate Luke? Han. First ever road trip I went on was with my family. My dad's originally from the East Coast, so he would pack all the kids in the car, and we would drive for days, stopping, you know, in like weird towns and like seeing stuff. As a kid, I think that's where like my love of travel and tour came from. It was like driving out to the East Coast and like driving to all these places with like my family. We'd like listen to cassettes and like party in the van or in the car. We had The Commitments. Do you remember that movie, The Commitments soundtrack? We had that cassette, and I like loved it. That was like my jam. So like all those old soul songs, like I can sing all those songs, and like, yeah. If we could do some heavy soul, like that would be amazing. But I don't think I have the pipes for that. I don't think I could pull it off. First time I was genuinely scared, I'll tell you this. So I was like a little like shithead skateboarding kid walking around with my skateboard, and I was spitting on cars. And I remember spitting into a car by accident. So a guy, like his windows were down, and I was probably like 13 maybe, and I spit into this guy's car and it hit this dude, and I saw the car like screech to a stop. Me and my friend ran away, and we were like running, like kind of laughing, you know, and then all of a sudden we like came, and the car was like right in front of us, and these two huge dudes got out of the car, and I was just like, so I was with my friend, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like own up to this, and I was like pretty scared about what was gonna happen, and the dude pulled out a switchblade, like the biggest switchblade I've ever seen in my life, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like I was like, this dude is literally gonna kill me because I spit on him. And he pulled out this huge knife, and he was like, never again, boy. And I was just like, bleh. And I was like the most scared at the time in my life. I would go on later to be very scared. I got robbed at gunpoint for a case of beer in Toronto when I was 20. And I remember that being like so weird and terrifying and confusing. And like someone pulled out a gun and like put it in my face. And I remember being like, what is, like, beer? You're robbing me for beer. And I remember being, I don't know if I was more confused than I was terrified. And my friends were all just like, what are you, give him your beer? What are you doing? And yeah, I remember just being like, we all walked away like stunned. We just got robbed at gunpoint outside of a beer store for beer. I think when I was 16, there was a huge like drum and bass and jungle scene and like hip hop and everything in the town that I grew up in. And because it was like a real student-y, kind of like Leeds, like where there's like tons of pubs and universities and everyone's kind of in there. And because like everyone in university looks young, we've kind of got into going to bars when we were like 16. So we would go and watch like drum and bass and like stuff like that and like jungle DJs when we were like 17, 16, and there'd be like hip hop and all this stuff. But because, I don't know, because everyone looked so young, it was just like really easy to go to these bars, and you could just like order beers and no one cared. Even though the drinking age in Canada is 19, in like our town it was just like, yeah, whatever. Like I started going to see bands when I was 11, and it was in bars because we just looked young and no one cared. So yeah, by that point when I was like, I'd been going to bars for 5 years, so I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go watch like, you know, Mystical Influence and like all these DJs, like it'll be sick. And in certain provinces you can be 18 to drink, so like tons of Americans come and get hammered, but they don't know how to hold it down. That's the thing, they're too heat score. Americans get wasted at 18 because they haven't before, whereas like Canadians have been getting wasted since they were 14. So by the time they're like 19, they're like a little bit better at like holding it down.